When people think of an international move, and as at that time that you're waiting, people think that, oh, it's very exciting, and you kind of build up this vision in your head of what life is going to be like. But the reality is kind of the contrary. So if you're new to the channel, my family is moving to Guangzhou, China in July. We currently live in San Jose. We moved to the United States after 15 years abroad. And we've been here for the past 18 months and realized that this wasn't exactly working out for us, so we're on our way. And today I want to talk about just kind of some of the things that people don't really discuss about international moves. And maybe you find yourself in that position where you and your family are moving abroad, or you're thinking about it, and I just kind of want to highlight some of the things that we're experiencing as we make that transition across the globe. So the first thing that we're dealing with getting ready for this move is apostilles. And what we're having to do is get FBI background checks. We have to get our university degrees, as well as our daughter's birth certificate, basically certified. And while they may be certified here within the US, they have to be certified through the Hague Convention, I think of 1962, where all the countries who signed this, basically a treaty stating that gives them recognition. So we're currently chasing that up right now. Got paperwork really all over the globe, it feels like. And to be honest, it's an enormous expense. Every document is at least $100 plus. I think I paid close to $400 for my FBI background check, and primarily the reason being is I had to get it expedited to get it done in here quickly. This is all for our Chinese visa. And it's just fascinating because every single time that we get a new stamp or a new apostille, it just makes the reality that we're moving back, or we're leaving, more real. And it's something that definitely makes it hit home. Another thing that we're currently doing is getting our medical checks. And China has a very extensive medical check process. We have to get a document form signed, and we had to get blood work this week, as well as X-ray. They're checking for tuberculosis and HIV, an EKG to make sure that the heart is healthy, obviously your basic body measurements and whatnot. Again, this was at a pretty steep expense of about $700 for both my wife and I, as well as running all over the city trying to get certain things, certain tests performed. And it's been hard. I mean, our insurance doesn't cover this. So we've had to really front this out of pocket and kind of go to smaller clinics to get this done because our insurance won't cover it at the hospital that we normally go to if we have any type of medical tests or medical issues. So that's been a frustration. And it's just from a philosophical side, it's kind of weird getting these health checks. I mean, I understand it from a visa standpoint. They want to make sure that the people who are coming in are not going to be a burden to the medical system. But it's just, you're authenticating yourself, making sure that you're fit for travel, making sure that you're fit for the country in which you're going to, and in this case, it would be China. So it's been a somewhat of a strange occurrence for the past two weeks of just getting all this documentation, both the apostilles as well as the medical background checks. Another thing that we're doing is trying to figure out what stays and what goes. I mean, if you go into our garage, you just can see it's just literally a mess right now of just trying to sort through what do we keep, what do we sell, what do we store in storage units. I mean, we have a little small house in South Carolina that we are planning on bringing stuff to. Not only that, but just shipping costs. I mean, we're literally downsizing everything. I mean, if it was up to me, I would sell everything and buy new, but my wife wants to bring some stuff. So we're just trying to sort out what is going to be best to bring. We're flying things over in suitcases. So I think my wife, we're got upgraded due to some gold medallion through Delta, which is the U.S. Flight company here. And it gives us like 8 suitcases when we travel to China. So we're currently going and buying suitcases, and I have no idea how we're going to get them to the airport when we do depart, but we're going to be leaving with 8 suitcases, and that's going to be part of our travel shipping is going to be with us on the plane. I'd be really curious to know how you shipped your stuff when you moved abroad. We've used freight before, but that's very expensive. We normally just downsize everything, leave stuff at parents' house or our place in South Carolina. But that's, that's something that we are going through right now and experiencing. And it's very strange because it just makes things very final when you are like kind of going through your stuff and sorting out what to keep, what to sell, and what to ship to China. And the biggest thing that we're going through right now is especially transition. It's not even our transition, it's our child's. Our daughter's name's Penny, and just watching her transition as we go, as we transition ourselves into our life in China. And to be honest, she's taking it in greater stride than we are. She's really diving back into that third culture life. And this just, again, as one of my earlier videos discussed, it just shows that sense of adaptability that these children have. She's really pumped. She's asking questions about the school. She wants to know what her class is going to be like, what is she going to be studying in terms of like language. And obviously as a parent, you're doing your best to encourage growth and acceptance in this. And there are moments where she is sad, but honestly, she's taking it greater stride. She's far more excited and happy than sad. So, as a parent of a third culture child, we're just trying to be her stability and trying to let her express emotion when that does show up, regardless if that's happy or sad. And more than importantly, just being stable being the stability in our constant evolving and changing life. I mean, I've made a career teaching third culture students for 20 or 15 years. Most of my students have been third culture. And one of the things that I see that is common between all of my third culture students who are really thriving and those who are not, is strong, stable families. And while they may be living in other places and constantly on the move, that family nuclear unit is quite strong, and their home becomes their family and not a location. So I see that a lot, and that's something that I try to make sure that we keep up with our daughter moving forward. So in essence, we haven't left yet, but yet we feel like we are. Very excited about our move. All these steps. I gave my wife a high five this morning because we went and picked up some medical paperwork stating that we have, checked off that on the list. And literally as we keep checking off different documents and paperwork and so on, we keep checking it off and giving each other high fives. So I'd like to know, how has your move been? Did you find it stressful? Some people really thrive in that type of stress and some do not. So I'm very curious. We'll keep you in the loop, and we got about 4.5 months until we step foot in Guangzhou, China, which we are very, very excited. On one hand, it feels like a very long distance away. On the other hand, we know that it'll be here before long. Until next time.